Welcome to Knowledge Quest channel. Today I will explain the story of Rise from the Ashes. Long ago, in the bustling city of Sun Haven, a talented blacksmith named Kael lived with his wife, Arya, and their young son, Eli. Kael was known for his skill in forging the finest swords, and his shop was always busy with orders from nobles, warriors, and merchants. Life was good, and Kael took pride in his work and the small but happy family he had built. One fateful night, a devastating fire swept through Sun Haven. The flames consumed everything in their path, sparing no home or business. Kael's shop, his tools, and his family's small house were reduced to ashes. With nothing but the clothes on their backs, Kael and his family found themselves homeless and destitute. The once proud blacksmith felt hopeless. He stared at the ruins of his life, his hands trembling. "Everything I've worked for is gone," he said to Arya, his voice heavy with despair. "How can I ever rebuild?" Arya placed a hand on his shoulder. "Kael, you've always been strong. This fire may have taken what we had, but it hasn't taken who you are. You're a blacksmith, a creator. You can rise again, stronger than before." Kael wanted to believe her, but doubts clouded his mind. Days turned into weeks, and he wandered the city, looking for work. No one wanted to hire a blacksmith without tools. Exhausted and broken, Kael sat near the remains of his shop one evening, staring at the ashes. A frail old man approached him, carrying a rusty iron rod. "Are you the blacksmith who forged the king's blade?" the man asked. Kael nodded weakly. "I was. But now, I'm nothing. I have no tools, no shop." The old man smiled. "A true blacksmith doesn't need tools to prove his worth. Here," he said, handing Kael the iron rod. "This is your first challenge. Forge something from this, and you'll see your strength is not in the tools, but in you." Kael looked at the rod, skeptical but intrigued. Using a borrowed hammer and a makeshift forge built from debris, Kael worked on the rod for days. It was hard, grueling labor, but as the metal took shape, Kael began to feel a spark reignite within him. When the work was done, Kael had crafted a simple but sturdy dagger. The old man returned, inspecting the blade with a nod of approval. "You've not lost your gift, Kael. Now, rise from these ashes and rebuild what the fire took." Inspired, Kael gathered what little money he had left and began to rebuild his forge. He scavenged for scrap metal, borrowed tools, and worked tirelessly. Word of his determination spread through Sun Haven, and the townsfolk began to bring him small jobs, fixing horseshoes, mending tools, crafting basic weapons. Each day was a struggle, but Kael's resolve grew stronger. Arya and Eli supported him, helping where they could. Slowly, Kael rebuilt his reputation and his shop. He forged not just swords and tools, but hope and resilience. Months later, Sun Haven held a festival to honor the city's recovery from the fire. Kael was invited to present his work at the event. With his family by his side, he showcased a magnificent sword he had crafted, a blade symbolizing rebirth and strength. The crowd marveled at its craftsmanship, and Kael was once again recognized as the finest blacksmith in the region. As the festival ended, Kael stood in his rebuilt shop, looking at his family and the workbench he had recreated. He realized that the fire, though devastating, had given him something invaluable, the chance to rise again, stronger and wiser. Kael turned to Eli, who was watching him work. "Remember, son, life will knock you down, and sometimes it will burn everything to the ground. But it's not about what you've lost, it's about how you rise from the ashes." From that day on, Kael's story inspired the people of Sun Haven. His forge became a symbol of resilience, and Kael himself became a legend, a man who showed that even when life is reduced to ashes, one can rise again, stronger than ever. Rise from the Ashes is a tale of courage, perseverance, and the unyielding human spirit that refuses to give up, no matter how dire the circumstances.